Everybody, Ralph Havens here. And you know, I used to have this condition, I guess. It would make me fume, really fume on the inside, really rageful stuff. And I knew it wasn't right, and I tried my best to hide it. And what I found is a way out of it that I want to tell you about, because it also helped with my healing, So when you think of true healing, what's in the way of true healing? How come some people have certain conditions, whether autoimmune or anxiety or who knows what else? And um and this was a big part of my journey, and I want to tell you about it. Okay, so years ago, for as long as I could remember, I had this thing. I just talked about it on my Facebook Live a little bit. I'm going to go into more depth right now. I had this thing where if certain people, especially significant others, if they were eating, their sounds that they made drove me rageful. I mean, so mad, and it just was like I couldn't take it. So I did lots of stuff to try to work around it. I would have music on. We'd be watching TV when we ate. I'd be surfing the internet when I ate. Anything to distract me, or to have some noise going on. And the funny thing, it was a funny condition because I was out with the same person eating at a restaurant, I didn't have it at all, not even a little. Or if I was around other people that weren't my significant other, um, I didn't have it at all. And little kids, I didn't have it at all. And so it was funny, even sometimes my own sound of eating, if it was too quiet, would cause some of it. But it especially happened around significant others. And I remember in 2012, I went to a homeopath that said, I think I've got the remedy for you. If that condition doesn't go away, we didn't totally solve it. And his remedy solved it pretty darn good for quite a while, but it kind of crept in a little bit here and there. And then it wasn't until I found this other thing that I'm going to tell you about today that was one of the big guiding principles to true healing for me, and it's what I use for my clients. One of the things I use, and so I'm going to give you that in a little bit. And so I was listening to a really cool podcast today about radical honesty, and it was somebody that was talking about there's different ways to be honest with other people. She was talking about relationships and stuff, and how you don't want to be brutally honest, like you don't want to just say everything that's on your mind, no filters, and just offend people and irritate people and be mean and hateful and thinking that you're being honest, right? It's not about that. But she was talking about being radically honest, taking responsibility for your own feelings, but letting them know if somebody hurt you, and then talking about it and that sort of thing. But I think there's a whole nother level beyond that, or even before that. And that's what I'm talking about, is this way to be honest with yourself. And so what I found that worked to clear this eating thing that I had, totally cleared. I mean, the homeopathic remedy was really cool. It shifted a lot of stuff for us. I think that's what got us up to the Pacific Northwest. But but um but to really dismantle it, this is what I used, and this is how it showed up. And so I went and I noticed this person eating, and I also sometimes other times I just thought about this person eating. And so then it would start to build a little bit of that rage. And what I did was I felt it. And so instead of calling it rage, I just felt what was happening in my body. And it's something I learned from one of my business coaches a while back, and it really transformed the way I look at healing. And so it's really radical honesty in that it's looking right directly inside yourself, inside ourselves. So I looked inside myself, and then instead of calling it rage or anger or just pure fury, I just noticed what it was actually doing. So it was like moving, and then it was twisting, and it was compressing, and then it was like actually hurting, and then it was throbbing, and it was doing all sorts of stuff. And I kept my attention on that, kind of like my Qigong master says, where your attention goes, energy flows. And so, what you track can shift. And so by track, I mean what you notice. And so I noticed it, noticed it. And then it got to the point where I didn't notice it anymore. And so then I thought about it again, this person eating. And sometimes it was like they were actually eating, and that rage wasn't there. And so as I went through layers of this, and it didn't take that long, that was no longer a trigger for me. And so instead of being like, when you eat, it kind of bothers me, and I think we should like talk about this, or there's something we should do to make it where you don't eat so loud, or, it's kind of like, you really need to eat with your mouth closed, or whatever would be like my thing. Instead of any of that, it was going inside and clearing stuff. Now, this technique is something that, that I noticed shifted something else. So I've been doing Qigong, a form of movement therapy, you could call it, a way to get healing and awakening through movements and sounds, and also using your mind. That's the key part of it. But I've been doing it for many, many years, 17 years or so, and it's improved my health and improved my life. And it's what I use with my one-on-one clients. One of the things I use, and it's a way to take responsibility for your own healing and to look inside and to clear physical as well as mental and emotional and spiritual stuff that's in the way healing. And there's one movement that there's certain movements that take a little physicality. Like you have to there's things to do that is like, oh, I can't quite go far into this movement because like my body just won't go that far. What's interesting was since I've been using this process of looking inside, radical honesty with what's happening in my body and just staying with it and allowing it to burn itself off, as I've been doing that, the physical things have been changing. So my physical body is actually moving better than it was moving before. And I know that because I was doing a lot of Qigong and all these exercises. And then by doing this process I just told you about, I was able to do things even better, as if I had done even more physical exercise or something, or got worked on. So it's a way to fix up physical things, but by going inside. So this is one part of one of these guiding principles that I use for healing. And it's what I'm calling true healing, because, instead of trying to cut something out or mask something with symptoms mask some symptoms with a drug or a herbal supplement of some type, or keep going to try to meditate just to get calm, instead of trying to just like mask something or get away from something or get rid of something, there's a way to be radically honest and go inside and clear things. And this is part of one of the 7 guiding principles of healing that I use. And if this is interesting to you, if this makes some more sense than some of the stuff that you might be using right now, if you want to explore this, then I made an entire masterclass. It's a bit of a commitment. It's 90 minutes plus, but it goes deep into all these principles that I found throughout my 30-something years of doing healing work. 7 guiding principles that I feel gets to the root causes, what's really going on, what really is in the way of somebody's healing. And if you want that, you can grab it. It's free. It's at ralphhavens.com/masterclass, ralphhavens.com/masterclass. Let me know what you think. And in it, I actually take you through this process a little bit more so you can experience it and feel what shifts for you by being radically honest with yourself and letting it run itself out, letting itself clear, letting the root cause shift. And it has to do with some really cool ideas around healing that I don't think you've heard before. So go ahead and grab that, ralphhavens.com/masterclass. And it looks like I'm going to be on a podcast on a regular basis coming up pretty soon. So I'll tell you all about that pretty soon. But you can always go to our YouTube, and pretty much every day there's something that I do for you. So ralphhavens.com/masterclass, and I will see you guys on the inside. Bye now. Let's get out there and live. Let's really live.